The courtyard behind Brightwell Towers was quiet. Just the hum of traffic and a lonely fountain. Eli Turner, the janitor, sat on a cold bench, unwrapping his small sandwich. His lunchbox was old, metal edges dented like his days, tough but holding together. Then came a soft sob. He turned. A young boy, maybe 7, sat near the fountain, knees pulled in, tears streaking his face. Eli, softly, "Hey there, buddy. You okay?" "Boy, they forgot to pick me up. I'm hungry." Eli looked at the sandwich in his hands. It was all he had until midnight. Still, he tore it in half and handed the bigger piece to the boy. "Boy, but that's your lunch." Eli, smiling faintly, "I already ate. Go on." The boy hesitated, then took a bite. Crumbs scattered across his shirt. For a moment his tears stopped. "Boy, you're nice." Eli, "Just hungry people looking out for each other." The boy grinned. Somewhere above, behind a glass balcony, Adrian Cole, the CEO, paused mid-call. His son was smiling again, thanks to a man in a janitor's uniform. Eli stood, brushing dust from his knees. Eli, "All right, soldier, time to get back. Someone might think I ran off with the building." Boy, grinning, "Thank you, Mr. Eli." Eli waved and walked toward the service door, his stomach aching but his heart strangely full. Upstairs, the CEO watched silently, eyes following the man until he disappeared inside. Adrian, to himself, "Who is that janitor?" One gave away his only meal. The other just realized how hungry he'd been, for something money could never buy. The glass separates them for now, not for long. The janitor's closet smelled of soap, metal, and silence. Eli set his dented lunchbox on the shelf, its weight lighter now, only crumbs and kindness left inside. He wiped his hands on a rag, pretending not to feel the hollow ache twisting through his stomach. Outside, laughter spilled from the corporate cafeteria. Silver spoons clinking, plates scraping, voices full of comfort he couldn't afford. He straightened his uniform, forcing a small smile as 2 employees passed. Coworker, mocking, "Lunch break over already, Eli? You eat fast for a guy your size?" Eli, grinning politely, "Gotta keep the floors clean before the footprints dry." They chuckled and walked away, never noticing the sweat on his temple or the faint tremor in his hands. He knelt beside the gleaming marble floor, mop gliding in slow circles. His reflection stared back. Tired eyes, gentle soul. Some men work to live. Others live through their work, hiding hunger behind a smile. The mop handle creaked. His stomach growled. He paused, whispering softly, "Eli, hang in there, old man. Dinner's just a dream away." Through the glass wall behind him, Adrian Cole, the CEO, stepped into the corridor. He slowed, watching the janitor's quiet precision, the care in every stroke, the quiet dignity in thankless labor. Eli never looked up. He kept wiping, humming under his breath, a tune that sounded like an old lullaby. Adrian's expression shifted. Faint recognition. That song. His late wife used to hum it. The CEO's gaze darkened, curiosity deepening. As Eli wrung out the mop, his stomach rumbled loud enough to echo. The CEO turned slowly toward his office. Adrian, quietly, "Find me that janitor's file." The night shift lights hummed low above the empty lobby. Eli finished polishing the last glass door, his reflection faint in the shine. He checked the time. 9:42 p.m. Only one thing mattered now. Her call. The phone buzzed in his pocket. He wiped his hands, smiled softly, and answered. Eli, gentle. "Hey, Peanut. You still awake?" Lily, tiny voice. "Daddy, we ran out of cereal." His heart clenched. The echo of her words filled the quiet lobby. He turned his back to the cameras, speaking low. Eli, "That's all right, sweetheart. We'll get more tomorrow." Lily, "Did you eat, Daddy?" Eli, forcing cheer. "Already did, kiddo. Big sandwich today." He swallowed the lie, his voice steady as the truth trembled beneath it. Lily, "I saved you the last cookie." Eli, smiling faintly, "You always do." A pause. Then her soft whisper, "Lily, I miss Mom tonight." He leaned against the wall, eyes glistening. Outside, the city lights blurred like tears. Eli, quietly, "Me too, baby. But she's still with us. Every time we're kind." He listened to her slow breathing until she fell asleep. Then he tucked the phone back into his pocket, staring at the ceiling. Some love stories aren't written in flowers and rings. They're written in late-night calls and empty fridges. Eli closed his lunchbox, now holding only Lily's crayon drawing. A stick figure, Dad holding a broom, smiling. His stomach growled again. He chuckled softly. "Eli, guess we're both hungry, kiddo." Above him, through the glass wall, the CEO watched once more, silent, intrigued. Tomorrow, hunger will meet opportunity. Morning sunlight crawled through the tall glass windows, turning every surface of the lobby into mirrors. Eli arrived early, as always. Before the suits, before the noise, the smell of fresh polish and faint coffee filled the air. He pulled his mop bucket from the closet and froze. Something was sitting on the rim, a small folded paper creased like it had been held tight. He glanced around. No one. He opened it slowly. The handwriting was clean, deliberate. "Your kindness doesn't go unseen." No name, no signature, just those 5 words. His brow furrowed. He looked toward the upper floors, the gleam of tinted glass, where the executives worked unseen. Eli, murmuring, "Who'd even notice?" He tucked the note gently into his pocket, as if afraid to break it. While he worked, small moments replayed. The boy's smile, the half sandwich, the soft, "Thank you." It didn't make sense. Nobody down here wrote notes. Not for people like him. Kindness echoes, even when the giver forgets the sound. As he pushed his cart across the lobby, a group of employees entered, their laughter bouncing off marble. One of them, the new supervisor, brushed past him without looking. Eli stepped aside, silent, invisible once more. He wrung the mop, the note's words whispering in his mind. "Doesn't go unseen." He looked up toward the mezzanine just for a second, and saw movement behind the frosted glass balcony, a figure in a dark suit standing still. Their eyes didn't meet, but something passed between them. Awareness, curiosity, quiet recognition. Eli blinked, and the silhouette was gone. He turned back to his bucket, but the note in his pocket felt heavier than gold. By noon, the building was alive again. The rhythm of heels, chatter, and coffee cups. Eli pushed his mop bucket through the hallway, moving slow and steady. He always did his work quietly, almost invisible, until the new voice broke through. Supervisor, sharply. "Hey, you missed a spot." Eli turned. A man in a pressed shirt and smug grin stood by the lobby column. "Mr. Keller, the new floor supervisor." Eli, calm. "Sorry, sir. Just finished this section. I'll go over it again." Keller, snapping. "Don't be sorry, just be faster. People pay too much rent to see streaks on the floor." Eli nodded, lips tight. He bent down again, wiping slower. Not because of defiance, but because pride doesn't rush. Behind the glass wall above, Adrian Cole, the CEO, watched the exchange silently from his office. He'd been doing that more often lately. Keller, mocking. "Guess music school didn't work out, huh?" Eli froze mid-swipe. Eli, softly. "Never had the money for one." Keller smirked. Keller. Figures. He walked off, whistling carelessly. Eli straightened, his reflection in the marble floor fractured by light. He exhaled slowly, letting the sting pass. There are men who step on others to feel tall, and there are men who bow, not from weakness, but grace. Adrian leaned forward in his chair, tapping his pen. He'd seen enough. The cruelty, the patience. He turned to his assistant quietly. "Adrian, pull the janitor's file. I want his name." The assistant hesitated. Assistant. "May I ask why, sir?" Adrian. "Because decency deserves to be seen." Tomorrow, the CEO will learn who Eli Turner really is. The night wrapped itself around the city like a heavy coat. Inside his small apartment, Eli set 2 plates on the wobbly kitchen table. Only one had food. Lily, his daughter, sat in her pink pajamas, swinging her feet. The plate in front of her held a little rice and beans, the last of what they had. Lily, cheerful. "Aren't you eating, Daddy?" Eli, smiling. "Already had dinner at work, Peanut." Lily. "Oh, what did you have?" Eli, pretending to think. "Big meal, sandwich, apple, maybe 2. He laughed softly, though his stomach twisted like it was listening to the lie. He watched her eat slowly, savoring every bite like it was a feast. The apartment's heater clicked weakly. The paint cracked on the walls, but Lily's laughter filled the space with warmth money couldn't buy. When she finished, she climbed onto his lap, handing him a folded napkin. "Lily, I made you something." Inside was a small note, written in purple crayon. "You're my hero, Daddy." He looked at her, eyes burning. Eli, softly, "That makes me the richest man in the world." She hugged him tight, and he kissed the top of her head. When she finally fell asleep, he returned to the table, picking up her empty plate. He poured himself a glass of water, staring at the reflection in it. Some meals fill the stomach, others, the soul. He smiled faintly, whispering to himself, "Eli, you eat." She smiles. "That's worth every hunger." He opened his lunchbox for tomorrow, finding Lily's note tucked inside. He smiled wider. Through the cracked window, a faint city light flickered, just enough to catch the note's words. "My hero." The next morning, sunlight spilled across Adrian Cole's office. Tall glass, sharp edges, silence trimmed in wealth. He stood by the window, coffee untouched, eyes fixed on the lobby below where Eli pushed his mop like a man polishing his own dignity. The HR director stepped in, tablet in hand. Adrian, quietly. "That janitor, the older one. What's his name?" HR director. "Eli Turner, sir. Works double shifts. Never late, never called in sick." Adrian. "Family?" HR director, scrolling. "One daughter. Lives alone with her. No complaints filed, no debts with the company." Adrian's gaze lingered, thoughtful. Adrian. "No debts, yet always bringing lunch in a tin box." He turned from the window. Adrian. "Does he take company meals?" HR director. "Never signs in for them. Brings his own every day." The CEO nodded slowly, recalling the sandwich. The boy's smile in the courtyard. Adrian, softly. "He gave his lunch away." HR director. "Sir?" Adrian. "Nothing. Just curious what kind of man starves quietly and still feeds others." He walked to his desk, fingers tapping the polished surface, eyes distant. The powerful notice everything, except goodness, until it stirs something human. He looked back toward the lobby once more. Eli was fixing a crooked rug, aligning every edge with quiet precision. Adrian. "Keep an eye on him. Don't tell him I asked." HR director. "Of course, sir." As the director left, Adrian's reflection caught in the glass. Half light, half shadow. Adrian, to himself. "Let's see how far decency can survive in this place." Hibinum, outside, Eli's hum faintly reached the upper floor. The same melody Adrian's wife once played. The morning rush thundered through Brightwell Towers, shoes clicking, coffee steaming, conversations overlapping like static. Eli moved through it all, mop in hand, his steps quiet, steady, invisible. He'd nearly finished the marble stretch when a young intern rounded the corner too fast, spilling an entire cup of coffee. The dark liquid spread like a stain across the pale floor. Intern, snapping. "Seriously? Watch where you're standing." Eli blinked, startled, then knelt without a word. Eli, softly. "All good, ma'am. Happens to the best of us." He pressed the mop to the spill, wringing it clean. The crowd slowed, whispering, some laughing under their breath. One man muttered, "Guess he missed his janitor Olympics." Eli kept wiping, calm as rain. Then his foot slipped. The bucket tipped. Water splashed over the polished floor. And over him. Gasps. Laughter. For a moment he stayed down, palm flat on the cold marble, pride and pain mixing in silence. From the mezzanine above, Adrian Cole had been watching the entire scene unfold. He moved before anyone else did. Adrian, firm. Enough! The laughter stopped like a cut wire. The CEO's voice filled the lobby, low, steady, unmistakable. He stepped forward, removed his jacket, and reached out a hand. Adrian. You okay, Mr. Eli, hesitant. Turner, sir. I'm fine. Adrian. No one's fine when they're disrespected. He helped him up, eyes meeting for the first time. Two men, one standing above by title, the other by grace. Respect doesn't flow downward. It's born in those who've earned it. As Eli gathered his tools, Adrian turned to security. Adrian, clear the lobby, everyone out. The floor fell silent. Only the mop's quiet drip echoed. The building's evening lights glowed like quiet stars. Eli stood at the janitor's closet, rinsing the last mop, when a voice startled him. Assistant, politely. Mr. Turner, the CEO would like a word. Eli froze mid-motion. Eli. Me? Are you sure? Assistant, smiling. Positive. His office. Top floor. He wiped his hands nervously, glancing at his reflection in the metal. Sink. Tired eyes, worn shirt, heart pounding louder than the faucet. Moments later, the elevator doors opened to a world he'd never seen. Leather walls, perfume of power, city lights stretching beyond glass. Adrian Cole stood by the window, hands in his pockets. Adrian. Mr. Turner. Eli, nodding. Sir. Adrian. I saw what happened in the lobby. You handled it with more grace than most men I know. Eli looked down, humble as ever. Eli. Just doing my job, sir. Adrian. Your job doesn't include being humiliated. A pause. Then Adrian's tone softened. Adrian. We're hosting a dinner tomorrow night. Company event. I'd like you to join. Eli blinked, caught between disbelief and fear. Eli. Sir? I'm just maintenance. I wouldn't fit in. Adrian, smiling slightly. Sometimes the floor teaches more than the boardroom. Come. As my guest. Eli hesitated, fingers tightening around his cap. Eli, quietly. If it's all right, sir, I'll think about it. Adrian. Do that, and Mr. Turner. He pauses. Don't sell yourself short. Eli nodded, stepping back toward the elevator, his heart heavy with confusion. Some invitations open more than doors. They open forgotten parts of the soul. As the elevator descended, Eli whispered to himself, Eli. Dinner with the boss. What am I doing? The next evening shimmered with elegance. Crystal, chandeliers reflected off glass walls, and laughter floated across the grand hall. Executives in tailored suits gathered around polished tables, forks, wine glasses, and small talk filling the air. Eli stood at the entrance, clutching his worn jacket. His hands trembled slightly. He had borrowed a clean shirt from his neighbor. It didn't fit, but his smile did. Adrian Cole noticed him immediately and waved him over. Adrian. Mr. Turner, glad you came. Eli, nervous. Didn't want to be rude, sir. Adrian, warmly. You're not a janitor tonight. You're my guest. Whispers followed as Eli sat at the far end of the long table. A few executives exchanged glances, smirking into their glasses. Executive 1, muttering, He's sitting with us? Executive 2. Must be some charity stunt. Eli heard them, said nothing. He adjusted his fork, napkin, plate, perfect posture, quiet dignity. When the waiter poured wine, he lifted his glass slightly. Eli, softly, Water's fine, thank you. His tone was calm, practiced. The grace of someone who once belonged somewhere else. Adrian noticed that too. The way Eli held his utensils. The way he paused before speaking. Refined. Polite. Not born of servitude, but education. Manners don't belong to money. They belong to memory. As laughter swelled again, Eli glanced around. Men drunk on comfort. Women laughing politely. Chandeliers glimmering above them like unreachable stars. He smiled faintly, quietly, then folded his napkin. Eli, to himself. Same table. Different worlds. Adrian studied him closely, realizing this man wasn't just humble. He was hiding a history. Midnight draped the building in silence. The offices were empty, the lights dim, only the soft hum of cleaning machines echoing in the halls. Eli moved through the shadows with his cart, humming the same old tune, the one that always made the long nights gentler. When he reached the lower storage room, something caught his eye. A dusty piano tucked behind stacked boxes, half covered by a tarp. He froze. His breath hitched. Slowly he pulled the cover away, revealing yellowed keys and cracked wood. Eli, whispering, "You've been waiting here a long time, huh?" He sat on the creaky stool, brushed the dust from the keys, and pressed one. It responded. Faint, imperfect, but alive. His fingers began to move. Hesitant at first, then sure. Notes filled the empty room like ghosts returning home. Some people clean floors, others clean silence. Each note carried something, buried, grief, love, memories of a woman who once sang by a window. His eyes glistened, but he didn't stop. Unbeknownst to him, upstairs, Adrian Cole lingered after hours, walking past the darkened hallways. The faint sound of music drifted through the vents. He followed it. When he reached the storage door, he stopped. The janitor's silhouette framed by moonlight, fingers dancing across worn ivory keys. Adrian stood motionless, his heart tightening. The melody. He knew it. His wife used to play the same song before she died. Eli ended on a trembling chord, exhaling softly. Eli, to himself. "Still got it, Mary," Adrian whispered from the doorway, barely audible. "Adrian, you shouldn't be cleaning floors. You should be teaching." Eli turned, startled. The storage room fell silent, the echo of that final note hanging in the air like a held breath. Eli turned toward the doorway. Adrian Cole stood there, half in shadow, emotion caught between surprise and disbelief. Eli, nervous. "Sir, I didn't mean to trespass, I was just—" Adrian, softly. "Playing, and beautifully." Eli rose from the bench, brushing dust from his hands. Eli. "Old habit. I used to teach, before life had other plans." Adrian stepped closer, his tone gentle. Adrian. "Music teacher?" Eli, nodding. 15 years. My wife was the real talent, though. She sang. We had a little studio, students, recitals. Then she got sick." He swallowed hard, staring at the keys. Eli. "Sold the piano to pay for her treatment. Lost her anyway. After that, well, floors were easier to clean than memories." Adrian stood still, the truth cutting deeper than he expected. Adrian, quietly. "I'm sorry." Eli, shrugging faintly. "Don't be. Everyone loses something. I just happened to lose the song." For a moment neither spoke. The air hummed with unspoken grief. Two widowers, two different worlds, bound by the same melody. Then something dawned on Adrian. Adrian, softly. "The boy you fed that day, that was my son." Eli froze. His eyes widened. Realization, shock, humility. Eli. "He looked hungry. That's all I saw." Adrian, with quiet respect. "You fed him when I didn't notice he was starving." Silence. Only the soft creak of the piano bench between them. "Truth doesn't divide men. It humbles them." Adrian looked down at the keys. Adrian, maybe it's time we both start listening again. The next morning, sunlight filtered through the lobby windows, scattering gold over the marble floor. Eli polished the brass handles in silence, lost in thought. The memory of the night before, the piano, the confession, the CEO's eyes, lingered like a tune that wouldn't fade. Footsteps approached. He turned. Adrian Cole stood there, sleeves rolled up, no tie, a calm weight in his presence. Adrian. Mr. Turner, I've been thinking. Eli, uneasy. That can't be good for a janitor like me, sir. Adrian, smiling. On the contrary, I want to help. Financially. Better housing. School for your daughter. Eli straightened, heart racing. Eli, firmly. No, sir, I can't accept that. Adrian, surprised. Why not? Eli, because charity fades when guilt does. I don't need saving. I just need a chance to earn. The CEO studied him, not as an employee, but as a man standing tall despite the world's weight. Adrian. You'd refuse help from me? Eli, softly. I'd refuse pity. But if you've got a broom that needs fixing or a tune that needs teaching, I'll take that. Adrian nodded slowly, a faint smile tugging at his lips. Adrian. Then I'll give you one. A real chance. Eli blinked, unsure if he heard right. Some offers change your life. Others reveal who you already are. Adrian, quietly. Meet me in the West Wing tomorrow morning. Bring your hands, and that heart of yours. Eli nodded once, emotion catching in his throat. As Adrian walked away, Eli whispered to himself, Eli, a chance. That's all I ever asked for. The West Wing had always been quiet. A forgotten hallway filled with dust, unused rooms, and echoes of what once was. But today, sunlight spilled through the tall windows, illuminating boxes labeled Community Outreach, Pending. Eli stood there, unsure, lunchbox in one hand, mop in the other. Then Adrian Cole appeared beside him holding a set of keys. Adrian. This space used to be a training hall. We're reopening it. Eli, puzzled. For what? Adrian, smiling faintly. Music. For the employees' kids. For mine. For yours? Eli's eyes widened. Eli. You're serious? Adrian. Completely. You'll run it. Teach them. I'll cover everything else. Eli set his mop down, his voice trembling. Eli. Sir, I haven't taught in years. I don't even own a piano. Adrian, grinning. You do now. He turned the key in the nearest door. Inside. A freshly tuned piano. Sunlight glinting off polished ivory. A sign on the wall read, Brightwell Youth Music Program. Eli stepped closer, fingers hovering over the keys like meeting an old friend. He pressed one, soft, clean, alive, Eli, whispering, I can't believe this. Adrian. Believe it. You've earned more than this. Some second chances don't come wrapped in luck. They come in faith. Over the next few weeks, laughter filled the halls, children learning scales, melodies echoing through corridors once silent. Eli guided small hands over keys, his eyes glowing with purpose, reborn. One afternoon, as he dismissed the class, a small voice called out, Lily. Daddy, can I play the next song? Eli turned, smiling through tears. Late afternoon sunlight streamed through the windows of the newly revived music room. Children's laughter mingled with the gentle rhythm of piano keys, clumsy, honest, alive. Eli moved from student to student, patient and smiling. His hands no longer carried mops, they carried melodies. At the doorway, Adrian Cole stood quietly, unseen, watching. Beside him, his young son, the same boy who once cried by the fountain, sat cross-legged on the floor, eyes bright. Boy. Dad, that's him. The janitor who shared his lunch. Adrian, smiling softly. Not a janitor anymore, son. They watched as Lily, Eli's daughter, climbed onto the bench beside the boy. Their small hands found the same rhythm, the notes forming a duet, gentle and pure. Eli stood behind them, guiding lightly, His smile said everything words never could. When music returns, it doesn't just fill rooms. It fills what was empty inside people. The song ended. Applause broke out from the few parents gathered in the back. Eli turned and froze when he saw Adrian there clapping quietly. Eli, softly. "Sir, I didn't expect—" Adrian, warmly. "Didn't want you to. I just came to listen." He walked closer, eyes glistening. "Adrian, you gave your lunch that day, and I didn't realize you were feeding more than hunger." Eli. "Sometimes kindness finds the tune we've forgotten." A long silence passed, heavy with gratitude, light with peace. Adrian, to himself, barely audible. He gave his lunch and got his life back. Eli smiled, bowing his head slightly. The children struck another note, and the piano sang the sound of redemption. Months later, spring sunlight washed over Brightwell Towers. No longer just a building of business, but of second chances. The lobby gleamed, not from wax, but from the laughter that now passed through it daily. At a small table near the cafeteria window, Eli Turner sat, not in uniform, but in a clean shirt and cardigan. Across from him sat Adrian Cole, sleeves rolled, tie loosened. The two men sharing something far simpler than power: a meal. A paper bag sat between them. 2 sandwiches, apples, and a thermos of coffee. Adrian, smiling. "You still pack your own lunch?" Eli, grinning. "Old habits. Keeps me humble." Adrian. "And generous, I'd say." They both laughed quietly. Outside in the courtyard, children from the music program played tag. Lily among them, her laughter bright as the morning. Eli, watching. "She's happy again. That's all I ever wanted." Adrian. "And my son won't stop talking about your lessons. You've done more for him than I ever did." Eli, gentle. "You showed up, sir. That's what matters most." A comfortable silence filled the air, the kind only earned through pain and redemption. Then Adrian lifted his sandwich, raising it like a toast. Adrian. "To unseen kindness." Eli. "To second chances." They clinked their sandwiches lightly, laughing like old friends. Sometimes a single act of kindness feeds more than a body. It feeds a future. The camera drifted toward the window, the same one where a hungry janitor once gave away his meal. Now, 2 men sat there equals, sharing lunch under the same light. Final line on screen: "Kindness, when unseen, still changes everything."